I please welcome our next speaker, Megan Brownlow from PwC.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me here today. Annie was all about social media. I'm all about the money. I'm from PwC. That's what we focus on. So, two sources of money in my world, the entertainment and media world: marketers and consumers. Marketers obviously bring their advertising sponsorship marketing dollars. Consumers bring their eyeballs and their wallets. I'm going to just briefly touch on both. First, marketers. So we conducted a really significant special feature this year with the help of the amazing Vision Critical, where we did some quant and some qual looking at the changing nature of marketing, and some fascinating things emerged. I just want to talk to you about two of those things. The first one is actually largely thanks to you, your research professionals. And as a result of all your good work, we have more usable customer data than we've ever had before. And that's fantastic. As a result of that change, marketers are actually improving their lot. They're taking all of that wonderful data, usable data, and as a result of their increased currency within organisations, they're actually affecting some significant organisational change. You might see this with your own clients, or if you're within organisations, you might have seen it too. What the majority of them told us, it's a bit of a quiet revolution going on in organisations across Australia as a result of all the great research work that's been done, as a result of the great swathes of customer data that's now usable. And that is that organisations are changing their internal structures, moving from what was previously very siloed, not very collaborative structures, to much more, as they describe to us, customer-centric styles of organisation. We're seeing much more cooperation between divisions. We're seeing the obvious examples. So marketing joining with IT, as one CMO put to us, I'm busy spending the CIO's budget, he's busy spending mine. There's a real convergence happening between those divisions. There's a real convergence happening between marketing and customer care or customer experience. And part of that's to do with exactly what Annie was talking about, that previously when people complained to a business, that was dark data. Now they're complaining via social media channels. Marketing has to be involved. It's all very public. And so that's the first big change that's happening that is very significant, that you're involved with, that we expect as a result of that to see marketers shift in their nature, that marketers will become more left-brain creatures. So one of your speakers today, John Batistich, is one of those more left-brain creatures. And I think we will see more of those very data-oriented marketers who will be drawn from backgrounds like engineering and data science, less interested in the colour of the logo, more interested in the deep connection with their customers. So that was the first finding. The second finding can sort of be summarised in this. So this is what has been our bread and butter. Well, mine, I spent 20 years in the media as a producer and then in management in radio and then television and then the internet, sort of a logical, and then back to television for a while. But what we heard the marketers say through the Vision Critical study was that the majority of them are actively moving their marketing budgets out of paid media channels to do what? To build their own channels, to create their own content. And why are they doing that? Data. It has some interesting implications for people in my world, for media people who now are white labelling content for brands' own channels. A couple of obvious examples. You've got Nova Entertainment, who are doing all the programming for Coles Radio. I also love ANZ's Blue Notes, where they've now got their own content portal for engagement. I think there's some really interesting trends happening there where brands are creating engaging content within their own channels and their own social media channels, purposely to capture that data, to have that closer connection. And what it explained to us, who have been focused on the paid media channels, is when we look 5 years into the future, why is the paid media market growing at such a sluggish rate? This is not a particularly good growth rate. Compound annual growth rate of 3.1%. 3.1% each year on average is pretty crap because that's not adjusted for inflation. So you'll see that it's really, not going to be a big growth area for the future. What we have, though, is huge growth in internet, with all of the media players trying to get a piece of that, particularly around areas like online video advertising, which we're forecasting to grow at a 36% CAGR to reach 718 million by 2018. Big growth area. So that's what I wanted to say about marketers. Now I want to talk a little bit about consumers. Most of you in this room are absolute experts in consumer research. So I just want to throw our little bit into the pool and show you a short film, which is really just a collection of vox pops. One of the things I found, having come from television and now essentially doing a research role, is that one thing researchers are not good at is getting other people excited about their amazing gold nuggets of findings. But I'm a communications expert, I'm a television producer. So I take our consumer research and I turn it into a video with just vox pops to illustrate examples of the themes that we're seeing, the quantifiable themes I put in a sort of a qual way. So I want to show you this, and then I want to talk through some of the implications of the consumer voice that we'll see here. Might need to sound up. Thank you.
Yeah, if I want to contact her, I message her when I'm sitting right next to her. Please look up.
신호 초반 연애할 때는 많이 싸웠어요. 스마트폰 때문에. 집중 못하는 자기 얘기, 밥 먹을 때도 마찬가지고. 근데 저는 특히 경기에 좀 집착을 하는 편이니까, 축구 경기에. 만약에 저희가 대부분 축구 경기가 저녁 시간에 있다 보니까 저녁을 같이 먹으면서 그 시간대
she's really good, then she gets her phone, a little phone time, or she can watch a Netflix program or two.
With older people that I work with, they can barely open up an Excel document attached to an email half the time. And then if I talk about the generation younger, they are more on top of the applications that you use on your iPhone specifically.
A book for me will be always the printed hard copy because of the tactile feeling, the smell and the scent again.
All my books are downloaded on my iPad actually.
And what's the smell of these kind of things? Can you feel that?
Smell. I just read it. I'm able to read it.
I'm just bored of my music. My tracks go out, they are outdated. So I just sometimes listen to radio, they come up with some new songs, some old song which I had liked before.
As soon as my friend mentioned that he had a problem with plumbing and whatever, and then completely unaware of where my mind was going, all of a sudden this whole ad came into my mind. When your drain is being naughty, 444 4040.
I've still got a subscription to a weekend paper. I love sitting down and reading the paper on the weekend, going through the physical pages.
Irrespective of the time when we come home, I have to watch about an hour or 2 hours of TV with my ice cream and milkshake and cake and everything. So that's like my unwinding process.
I don't have any issues with leaving my personal details. I want to make the shopping experience as quick and as easy as possible. I want sort of single sign-on details. I want simple log-on details. I want to be able to give a password which doesn't have, numbers, hieroglyphics, foreign currency. I just want to be able to put in a word and get through.
Over time, Vimeo has noted what I watch, and now they just seem to give me everything that I like.
At first I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird, why are you watching what I like? But I've gotten used to it, and I've almost come to enjoy it, and I know it guides some of my purchases.
The prettier little high fills and things like that can become annoying. If they want to call me Phil, they can ask you.
If you write in your status, I'm going to Denver, then all the adverts are then related to Denver, Colorado. And it's incredibly invasive.
My dad, he just got a new 5S, so he's busy playing his Candy Crush, and then he wants like from his friends.
Eu estava no colégio, aí vinha o inspetor. Você passa dessa fase pra mim?
Fica todo mundo na sala, intervalo de sala, e passa essa fase. Aí outra pega o telefone da outra e passa a outra fase.
Fica todo mundo trocando o telefone pra alguém ajudar, porque quando tu para numa fase, não consegue.
Aí tem que ser outra pessoa.
Aí tem que ser outra pessoa, parece que uma magia, não consegue, não pode parar.
시간 죽이는데 되게 좋고 게임이 확실히 중독성이 있는 것 같아요. 하고 나면 허무하긴 하나 뭐 달성을 하지 못했거나 깨지 못했을 경우에는 그쵸 뭔가 수단과 방법을 가리지 않고 네, 그렇게 하얘지는 것 같아요.
Most of the games that I play are for free, but sometimes you do get advertisements that pop up with the free games, and yes, I'll definitely pay for them to be removed.
Once in a while, I'll pay for a level up on a few games. I got really bad when I first got my own cell phone, and there was this thing called like Bugs Life or something, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I paid like $25 for all these acorns to give me more lives or something like that, and I did that 3 times, and I was like, wait, this is real money.
So I just want to pull out a few things that are most relevant to you, and for sure you will be tackling the issue of privacy sometime over the next couple of days. It's such a key issue. We ask consumers every year how they're feeling about the exchange of their personal data, what benefits they're seeking that make that exchange a fair value exchange to them. And I have to say, if I was forced, obviously it's nuanced, and you more than most would understand how nuanced this is. But if we had to sum it up, we would say that the shift we've seen over time would have consumers say that convenience trumps privacy. If you get that value exchange right, convenience is the thing that they are mostly seeking now, and that's what will trigger the fair exchange feel for their personal data. The other thing is about online video advertising, huge growth area. It's driven by addiction. It's extraordinary because, of course, lots of lovely data comes with that too. This is enabled by those internet-connected devices that are proliferating through our homes. Parents are now using this to mould children's behaviour. Devices are the new sugar. These are the sorts of things that came out of our research. I've just been beeped, so I'll actually wrap it up there. You can ask me a question about any of the others if you like.
All right, thank you, Megan. Does anyone have any questions for me? Can we have a mic, please, over here?
Hi, Praveen from Korea, picking up on a statement that you made at the closure, that convenience trumps privacy. Is this across generations and cultures, or is it very specific to a particular age group?
Right. So it is, I'd say, correlated to length of time on the internet. So that is probably the determinant rather than cultural or age. Does that make sense? Yeah, the longer we spend, the more we do. The more we do, the more we want to do, and the faster we want to do it.
Thank you.
Did we have any other questions? I have one for you, Megan. Obviously, when you're talking about online or digital media, there's a massive amount of data out there, and big companies can collect all sorts of media companies can collect all sorts of information about how it's been used and consumed. How does traditional media, like TV, for example, get access to quality consumer data?
Great question. So, traditional media has always been disadvantaged and increasingly disadvantaged in the modern marketing world because it can't provide the granularity of data that its internet usurper can. And what we're seeing now, though, particularly in Australia, where the default position for media consumers is to have a second screen in their lap or in their pocket as they're consuming media, is there are new business models that are being born around getting consumers to engage with that second screen while they're actually watching telly, or while they're listening to the radio, or while they're walking past an outdoor media sign. And it's via that connected screen that they're actually able to close the loop and capture the data and bring some more accountability and some comfort to marketers that that big part of the funnel, television, radio, outdoor, is actually working. So, for example, synchronous television formats. I don't know, a number of you are probably mature enough in this room to remember a hit show on Channel 9 probably 12, 15 years ago called the National IQ Test. Do you remember the National IQ Test? It was revolutionary in Australia because it was the first occasion where we had a synchronous television format. So you had people, this is pre-tablet, pre-smartphone, people were encouraged to do the IQ test online on 9MSN while Eddie Maguire and Katrina Roundtree were in the studio doing the television audience IQ test. And it was such a great model for two reasons. Firstly, it gave broadcasters a taste of a new revenue stream, because if you did the test online afterwards, it stayed up for a few weeks, you had to pay a couple of dollars to do it. But secondly, you had to be there live. It was a live viewing experience, or now they call it event television. And that supports the business model of television, which is advertising based. So they're the sorts of ways, it's second screen behaviour that is enabling better data capture. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Megan.
Okay.